All right, let's continue on with this oval window. We've got to sand this roof. That's the next thing. Just get all the blocking, make sure there's no dents in it and everything. On this thing, I think it's so high I can't really film it. But so what I'm going to do is go ahead and film it or sand it down, and I'll bring you guys back in. We'll take a look at it real quick. All right, so up here I just found some real minor waves. I think there's no need for any filler except for that. That was just pitting from the rust that was on here. There's like, man, this is a straight roof. I gotta wipe it by hand. So what I do is I go over it with the machine first, and I'm going to take a hand block and just check everything out once, and then, but I don't have to be on a ladder, so it's kind of a pain. It's going to be real fun to paint this like that. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to have to get up here and sand that, and then do a hand block on this. There's like a little low there, but it's just tiny. It's like little bitty stuff. Probably won't even show up. Like right here. It's a little something. I can't feel anything though. I just feel like a rough spot. Probably just needs to be hand sanded with, block, and that's it. You guys are going to tolerate the leaf blower because I can't wait. I got all this coming. So anyway, we got that done. The roof pits are filled in. I double checked everything with the block. There's a little wave right here. Let's see if it even shows up later. I squirted a little on here to test it. Looks pretty good. Got some of that stuff fixed. And yeah, we got that looking pretty good. So got those little pits there fixed in the back. Little tiny dent there. Ready for final prime. I think we're going to be good. Right, so we're going to continue on with this thing here, and just go ahead and sand this sucker. Hit this thing with some 320 with the big monster sander. This thing sands better than a regular DA, by the way, if you didn't know. These things actually, it's easier to control. It sands more aggressively, both. So than a regular air-powered DA. The air-powered DAs kind of want to walk a little bit. This thing's just super solid. It's almost like sanding with a Bondo Buster type of thing, the big 8-inch where you can really control it. It's kind of like that, but it's a little bit better even than that. So it's fast. So anyway, sand this down. We'll take a look at it. All right, so we got this thing all sanded here, first time, and then I'm just got to go around all the edges. This is a 320 I'm using, and I'm using a these blocks you can get at O'Reilly Auto Parts. I don't know the part number. They're 3M. They're kind of a flexible block. Almost like soft foam. They have a really soft one. This is the medium. These work really good, especially for round surfaces. So I go over everything by hand after I'm done with the DA. I got a couple cut throughs, so I'm going to have to prime those. I don't think I'm going to use the wet on wet technique on the outside of the hood. For metallics, I don't like to do that kind of thing because, on the outside. So, yeah. So anyway, I'm going to use this first, do everything with that. Then I'll go through, prime all these areas and re-sand it again. Just give it a real quick scuff. And then get into paint. Well, the data sheets on this stuff are really poor, but it does say wet on wet. I'm not going to use it that way. I'm going to burn up what's in this one. It's almost empty. Yeah, put it on real light. It'll run like crazy if you're not careful. And then I'm just going to let this set for, I don't know, my guess is about 4 hours from the experience I've used on it. You got to really let this stuff set for a while. Because it's that wet on wet, it's got a retarder in it that makes it take a long time to dry. So if you're looking for something fast, it says filling, I think, on it. It doesn't really do very primer filling and primer. Nah, not really very thick. If you want filling, you use the medallion. The reason I'm doing this one, it doesn't take much sanding to get it to about it for that one. It doesn't need a real heavy fat edge or anything on it. clear is coming out right now, isn't it? I shook it pretty good. It just takes a little while. But anyway, binder. But anyway, yeah, it doesn't take much to knock down the feathered edge or the edge of it. Just so a little scratchy pad, maybe. That's it. We'll knock it down and open it up enough for paint to stick. You see the coverage is horrible, but it does a good job for this. That's for final pieces and stuff to prime. It doesn't come out of the can very good though. So anyway, I'll use that. Yeah, this at Refinish Depot website. They also have some cool, really good clears there. Refinish Depot. I might put the link in the description. They do sell these spray cans, but they're only really good for this. They're not good for much else. I don't know if I'll buy them again, but since I got them, I'll use them up, and they work good for this. They work really good for this, like a final little prime spots where you cut throughs and all that. Not for filling and not for after you put on filler or anything like that. Nothing. I wouldn't use it for any of that. I'll sand that a little bit, let this dry. So anyway, just about ready. We'll paint this probably later on today. Got wonderful weather. I'm not going to paint it outside. I'll put it in the other little shop garage over there, and I'll paint it in there. And then I'll do these little cut throughs right here are no big deal. I could leave them. This will be better for coverage though. Those are actually epoxy primer underneath that's coming through. So, and that's okay to go over that. All right, I'll bring you guys back in. All right, let's take a look here. That looks pretty smooth. There's no orange peel in it at all, really. Got it down there pretty good. Not much. Anyway, a couple of little pieces of tiny dirt, you know, but not much. Looks pretty straight. There's just slight waves going on. Probably won't even see it when it's on the car. Not much of anything. So anyway. Yeah. And it didn't run. Put it right to the edge, so let that dry overnight. It's pretty dry now where it's not going to run. Yeah. Let's check it where there's something you can't see. It's pretty dry. Let's see down here. Sticky. There's no super sticky, but not to that point where it's you rub your back of your hand on a little bit or something. Yeah, it looks good. Not any flaws in it. All right, moving forward. Let's get on to the rest of it. All right, I sprayed these with some of this wet on wet chameleon. It's pretty nice because it helps it adhere a little bit in places where you may not have sanded really well. All right, let's check these out. Yeah, I gotta let these set outside for a couple days just to get this clear really hard. I got a little tiny bit of orange peel in it, but not much. Looks pretty smooth. This turned out good. No runs. I was just worried about getting runs in these little corners and stuff. It's really hard not to get anything with low pressure, at least. Unless you want to blow clear all over the place. So yeah, looking good. Those are ready to go on already. So I'm gonna let these dry for a little while so that when I go to set them down, they don't just imprint. Need to be at least probably till tomorrow or something. At least should be a couple days, but I don't know. We'll see. Talk to you guys later. All right, well, I got everything sanded. Now I'm gonna get this ready, epoxy prime everything. I got under the dash, under the heater channel sanded. Just went through everything, kind of sanded it up as best I can, and then I'll use the epoxy primer as a adhesion coat, and then I'll just go over this with let it set for about an hour or two, about 2 hours, and then go right over it with base. Just got to put the base on kind of light, put it on too heavy, and it'll probably wrinkle the other paint, other finish underneath. So I'll just do that, and I'm going to put clear on all this. think I'm just going to do the dash right now too. Yeah, and just do all that and do all up underneath here. I'm going to paint all that just so it's protected and, you know, all that for now. All right, talk to you guys a bit later. Alright, so we've got coat of epoxy primer. Yeah, there's some areas that don't look the greatest. It's not supposed to look really good. I'm just trying to make it to where it's got primer on everything that'll make it adhere. You know, what'll go on there will adhere really well. And you can go right over this once it's dry. I'm gonna let this dry for a couple hours. I think you can do it 24 hours later even with the epoxy primer. And then everything's sealed even with this. But then when I put paint and clear on here, then it's going to be really well sealed. It's not perfect, but it's fine. It'll be really good for many years. This will last my lifetime and then some. So anyway, we'll go with that. Alright, this is one coat of base, so that's basically all it's going to get. Even the dry spots up in the ceiling, I don't really care. Just want enough color on there to kind of see that it was this color. And then the dash, of course, it's going to get a few coats. And all the parts you see. So, I've got to do underneath this heater channel. I'm going to do all underneath it and everything. Just put a coat of clear on it all. A couple on the dash and call it good. Alright, let's unmask this bad boy. Get it ready for the next stage. I'm gonna got a couple sags, one right there, one right here, a little tiny one. Saw one over there. Really hard, you bump stuff inside here. It's, you know, that's why I didn't want to do too much at once. Because then I get more flaws in it, and it's easy to manage in one area at a time. I'm just doing this thing like that. So yeah, it came out pretty smooth. Got a little bit of orange peel. I went a little bit too heavy the second coat. Oh well, it happens. So we got clear on everything. I just shot a real light coat of clear up here, I think. Kind of flattened out a bit, but down here I had some left over, so I shot it all again. So yeah, it looks pretty good. So we're getting down to the last bit here. It's kind of hard to paint in here. I got underneath these things done too. Heater channels, those are all done. It's a little tight in here. Feel 2 inches shorter after working in here. Yeah, so anyway, what I gotta do next is, let's see, I'll finish polishing this out later. I'll give this a little bit of buff, a little bit of color sanding. May not need to do too much. It's pretty smooth right here. There's no orange peel in it or anything, so might just do the dash. Yeah, I'll let that dry for a few days before I mess with that. Probably won't need to do this. It looks smooth. That looks flat as can be. There's no orange peel in that. I shot it really wet. But nice, everything in here is painted. So that's one coat of base. Just double shot it real. I opened it up like 1.5 turns and then just shot it on really slow, so it comes out of the gun kind of dry, and then you just go along really slow and then keep your air pressure low so you don't get you know, so you have enough atomization, kind of a balance in there. It's like using low pressure and then using less turns out and going really slow. So it takes a bit more time to spray it, but you can get a nice even coat like that pretty good with one coat even doing that. So it covered up pretty good. This I did a couple, two, 3 coats, all the dash and underneath and all that. That looks pretty smooth. Yeah, not much for orange peel under there. That's good enough. I'm just going to leave that. I'm not going to buff it or anything. Okay, so that's that. So the next thing I'm going to do is, after this dries, I got to let this sit for a day or so. I got to put this thing back up on the heater channels. I got to do under here. I don't know if you can see what I'm saying. Underneath here, I got to do all that section. I don't think I want to do this and that. Maybe I will. I don't know. Maybe I'll do all of this and all of that at the same time. And I'll just shoot all this. I'll tape this off so I don't have too much overspray on here to sand off. It's always hard to do. So I'll just tape all this off. And I'll paint everything underneath here. And the reason I do it in sections like that, because you just get too much going on. You got angle this way, you got angle this way. You're going to get runs and stuff trying to, and then you'll forget where you're at. All kinds of stuff goes on. When you get my age, you forget where you're at even when you're just walking. So, and the other thing I gotta do is back here. So I'm gonna do inside all this part up to this edge here. And I'll get the minigun in there and shoot all that. So that'll be all done. I'll mask off everything here. So I gotta start prepping that. It's a lot of sanding. It's all done by hand pretty much inside there. And then, oh yeah, then I got, ew, then I got underneath here, I'm going to paint. So, I don't know how I'm going to do all that. So I was thinking about just doing underneath here, and then underneath there, and then get that all done, and then do this section. That's just a lot of crawling going under there, go underneath there and paint. Well, I guess I could do it. I'm just going to put one coat of base and then 1 or 2 coats of clear underneath there. This I'll shoot 2 coats of clear. Really shoot it real heavy and shoot it real nice. And I'll do the same thing underneath here. This will be 2 to 3 coats of clear. Might even shoot 3 in here to color sand and buff it really good. But under there, that's just going to get 1 coat of clear, just enough to protect the metal. So, and a little bit of color. Like I said, this is 1 coat of base. And that's not even the actual color. This is actually a different color right here than what's back there. Believe it or not, I matched it. I added some more colorant to the base that I made. So I made a base color, and then I have the actual color. So there's a slight difference right here than there is right there. Believe it or not, it's a little tiny bit different. But yeah, that way I got plenty of paint to cover everything. Yeah, I have 2 whole gallons. So anyway, that's where we're at. We're looking good, man. Looking good. Wow, that looks pretty good. Let's look at that again. The dash. It looks nice. God, that color just looks really cool. I like it. I can't wait to see the whole car put together like that. It's coming. Anyway, I think what I'm going to do is just end this one here, and then I'll bring you guys back in when I get the next part done. I'll get this thing, I gotta let this set overnight and let that really dry really good, and then I can put these things back underneath the heater channels, because they're painted underneath there. Kind of a half-ass paint, but it's painted, and it's painted underneath there so it won't, won't rust. And then I'm gonna put this on the heater channels, and it might scratch them a bit, but not too bad. And then I can work on this part. Maybe I'll just do all this at once. I don't know. Maybe I'll do all of it, all the rest of these jams all at once. Maybe. See how I'm feeling. And then once I get that done, then I'll put it back here again the way I have it right now. And then I'll just cover up every bit of inside here. Then I'll just paint the outside of the body. These things here, these are going to get the other color, like 1-2 coats of the base. And then the rest of it's going to get the actual color. So, yeah, we should be good. All right, that's it for it. This, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. That looks really cool. It's all painted in there. Talk to you next one. Please like, share, and subscribe. See your comments.